Hello and welcome to the Tech Chambers podcast. I remain your favorite podcaster, Godsent Michael. So, over the previous episodes, we've been talking about how there are a whole lot of sectors within the tech industry where advancements and app development can be made to ease the users' stress, to ease them from stress and make services more convenient and all that. But then we've all been much more invested in the fintech. So that has been the whole idea that ran through the previous episodes. In case you've not seen them, you can always go back to the channel link and see the previous episodes. So today we're going to talk about something, but it's worthy of note that while while the fintech is receiving significant amount of attention and app development, it doesn't exactly mean that other sectors of the tech industry, like the health, the transportation, and even the health transportation and even the e-commerce, it doesn't mean they are not getting attention or app development within those sectors. But the whole idea of this series has been to zoom into how this whole thing plays out within the African tech ecosystem. That is to say, we don't have our own indigenous app. So this whole series so far has been a wake-up call and a zoom in, a nosedive into why the African tech ecosystem has not been able to do much more compared to what they've done, do much more in other sectors compared to what they've done in the fintech sector. Of course, you would agree with me that within the African tech space, the fintechs are thriving. We have a whole lot of African indigenous fintech products out there that are thriving, that are using smart technologies and solving problems for Africans. So that is what this whole series has been about, because this is going to be the last of this series. So today, we're going to look at, try to understand why these issues, these challenges exist for other sectors and why fintech has been thriving more, right? So basically, a quick understanding of why the fintech has been thriving is very important. The fintech over time, or the financial industry, even before fintechs, always thrives on regulation, which has been driving innovation and ability for people to tap in and create wealth, right? That then gives everybody the idea that since there are regulatory bodies and there is a wholesome amount of regulation within this particular industry, if we leverage on it, we can always make profit. You can only maximize profit by offering services. This has always been the underlying idea behind a whole lot of fintechs out there, and that's why it's easier to venture into fintech. So the point is that the regulations over time within the financial industry has made it possible to drive innovation within that industry. Then it brings us to the other platforms like the e-commerce, the other sectors rather, the e-commerce, the transportation, the health and all that. You would agree with me that in the area of health, there are a lot to be done. Across all the other sectors, there are a whole lot to be done. When we talk about transportation, we talk about the hauling system, logistics, delivery systems, in the transportation system, you understand that we even need transportation system management applications. All these things do not exist because it is lacking within the African tech space, and it's as if everybody is so blind to the fact that people who run transport services actually need these applications. The best we have out there for transport, for road transport workers or even airlines, is just their website where you go and book and go. But a whole lot can be done, you know. But then when we look at health industry also, you find out that the idea of uh, care delivery is very important, and an app in that regard can make things much easier. And then also these wearable devices, you could wear on your wrist or on your biceps to just keep giving records of your vitals and all that, and then a way to simply make it possible that your vitals can be directly sent to your personal doctor through the application where they can have an interface for the doctor and the user, right? These are all ideas, but no, nobody has built on all these things within the African ecosystem. And this has been my greatest vision, right? The fact that Africa lies untapped. This is just the whole idea behind me talking about why we've all been looking one side, which is fintech, and neglecting the other parts. They are not getting equal momentum, equal traction, equal investments and developments as against the fintech. That's lack of equilibrium. That's inequality is something that I find highly dismaying, and I feel like the the developers out there, the startups out there, the investors out there, we all can do better. We can offer services. Come on, Africa has a lot of population. We have people who are ready to use these apps. What matters is if we have packaged the product in such a way that it is actually solving a problem for them. That's why the Paystack brothers made a whole lot of money. you know. So let's look at why it is rather difficult to venture into why it seems difficult to venture into health related applications, of which I brushed through this in the previous episode where I said part of the reason why people rarely go into development of health applications is because they feel like you have to be a supposed professional. You have to have the wherewithal, the know-how in that field, just so that you don't endanger people's lives. So that particular reason gets people scared to their titties, which is why people don't like that. Again, secondly, it potends a whole lot of legal implications because, of course, if you feel like you don't have the professional what know-how, you don't have the licensing, you don't have the backup, it means that at any point, if anything goes south, you get legal sanctions on your head, and then the company gets to pay a lot of liability. So nobody wants to run into losses. So it's easier to go into fintech because already there are regulations. All you have to do is try and get your license for whatever fintech app, understand how that industry, whether it's a loan app, understand how the loaning thing happens within the country or continent where your app is going to run, and then abide by their rules and their regulations. It's much more easier that way and get their license. It's easier like that for fintechs. But for health, you have to have a license, then make sure that your apps do not at any point incur legal sanctions as a result of users complaining of whatever your app did today. Imagine having a wearable device and then somebody comes up to, complain that instead of whatever wearable device it is to just calculate my blood pressure or you know just calculate the blood pressure and then transmit it through the phone. It's actually, for some reason, is shrinking my body, making my heart to vibrate. Or somebody complains that as soon as my dad, who is an aged man around 67, as soon as he wore that thing, it caused a heart attack. In scandals like this, your app is gone. Not just gone because you're going to lose users, but also you're going to face a whole lot of liabilities and you pay through your nose, just to assuage people's concerns. So there is a whole lot around health applications. And this is not me trying to, not be understanding of why people don't want to venture into it. But the truth is, there could always be ways around it. For example, in the US, there is this hospital EMR app that exists, where hospitals are synced. They can connect to the database of other hospitals. A country like Nigeria, we don't have that. There can always be data breach. A hospital, a general hospital can tell you something like, okay, go to so and so hospital. As we are speaking, they have blood in their blood bank that matches your blood type. They don't have all those databases. There has to be a sort of management system at least. Let's start from somewhere. Nobody's saying out of the blues, let's start building sophisticated applications. But the thing is, let's start solving these problems from somewhere. The truth is, I'm throwing all this out there because these are problems that need solutions. But then it could just be me. I could just, decide to have decide that okay, I'm gonna do this, but I need investors. So it takes the investors, it takes the idea owner, it takes everybody, the developers, the whole team to make this happen. So this is why I'm putting it out there. We all can make a change. I can make the change, you can make the change. Also, let's look at the e-commerce platform. The e-commerce platform is gradually growing, right? But then we can also have inventory management applications. For example, somewhere in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, there is a supposed gadget shop or gadget outlet or plaza known as Garrison. This place has people who go ahead and import phones, sell phones, import it, sell as retail to users. They buy laptops, all form of accessories and gadgets. They sell these things. Imagine a situation where someone thinks of, say, a phone, an inventory management application where these guys can start taking stock of what they have, and then there's a way to take stock of what was sold today, what left, what came in, the profit we made. These things do not exist because I've made my ground research. These things do not exist. There has to be a way people get to manage what they've made. Sorry, excuse me. There has to be a way people get to manage their products. People get to know when my iPhone 14s are getting out of stock and I need to restock. An inventory management app is actually a way to start for when you talk about the e-commerce, right? Then again, even under the e-commerce, we can do there can be something that's more like connects all Nigerian made products in such a way that these products can then be, for example, artisans. Let's say I own a shoe making factory or shop or outlets in Aba Area Industrial International Market. So there has to be a platform where somebody reaches out to me through an application, a web app or a mobile app. Somebody reaches out to me and tells me, hey, this is my quotation. I need leather sandals, 350 pieces for my students, 100 for males, and 250 for ladies, total of 350. This is my quotation. I want them all in black. I want them with leather. I want you to make them for me without even seeing the person. That's the beauty of e-commerce. But no, nobody has come up with this. People have been trying to market their products through one-on-one, reaching out to people, which is making it tedious. Honestly, I don't know how to emphasize this enough. Africa has an untapped market that has to be tapped. So the e-commerce, the health, the transportation, and other sectors that I've not even talked about here. I'm talking about these ones because they are the more pronounced ones. There are a lot of places where we can solve problems, but nobody has done that. So it could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody out there, but we have to start thinking towards these other places. Fintechs are not the only real deal. So, once again, thank you for listening all through this episode. And I promise the next episode will be shifting into something more juicy, all within the tech eco space. Once again, my name is God Sent Michael. Thank you for listening through.